Hey, what's up YouTubers? Thanks for joining me today. I'm really excited about today's video. I'm going to be answering a very common question, a question that's been asked a lot over and over and over, and I think it's very important that you guys hear about this. Now roll the intro. Okay, and today's question is, what do people mean when they say, don't work in your business, but work on your business? Isn't this a great question? So there's a lot to unpack in this one question. So I'm going to do it with an example. So the example that I have here is that we're going to take a typical coffee shop owner. In order for you to run the coffee shop, here are the typical tasks in order for you to make money. Okay? It isn't just making the coffee and then selling it to the customers. No, it isn't just that. There is a lot of other things that we don't see. It's more than one realizes. Here is a list of things that I kind of just thought about while I was writing up this list. But if you're in a coffee shop and there are other items that I have missed, please let me know. And I truly believe that there are more than just these tasks here that I have on my list. So yeah, like I said, just let me know. Typical task. First one is open up the shop, right? So someone has to do it. Now, this first task seems easier than most people think, but you know, sometimes you're not feeling well. Sometimes you stayed up the night before. Sometimes you have, you know, birthday parties, family obligations, and a very basic task of opening up the shop can be a bigger responsibility than most people think. Because if you don't open up the shop on a consistent basis, the people, you know, if you think about the people that get their coffee, they have certain routines. They may go to work at a certain hour of the day. They may go and you know, there might be a certain convention or some sort of workshop that they have near your coffee shop. And if you are not open on a consistent basis to be available to them whenever when they want that coffee, like myself, when I normally have my coffee in the morning, and I have it at around 7 a.m. Now, if I don't have my coffee at 7 a.m., I get really cranky, and I'm sure a lot of people out there are the same. So what I'm saying is that if you are not open at that time, and if your competitors are open, even though you may have better coffee or you make better coffee than your competitor, that person will go looking for that coffee, irrespective of how good your coffee might be. They're not going to wait around for half an hour or maybe even 10 minutes in order for you to open up your coffee shop. So this first item is a huge responsibility. It's a bigger responsibility than most people realize. And if you are a small business owner, this is the one task that you have to do all alone. You got to make sure that you open up and operate all year round, every single day. You know, having as little downtime and as little, you know, you got to be as punctual as you can. If not, you can be losing a lot of business. The next one is, once you open up the shop, you got to unpack everything, prepare all your supplies for the day, switch on all the appliances, make sure all the food preps are done, and you know, you lay out all your drinks and you make it look nice and pretty on your countertop. And then you know, and then your first customers will come. You got to make the coffee. You have to engage with the customer. It's always a bonus as well if you can remember the name. I remember I used to have a big kick out of like my coffee shop, the coffee shop that I normally go to, and they remember my name. And that's why I always go back, because there's a bit of personal connection there. Even though I might see this person for 5 minutes every day, but I'm seeing them every day. That human interaction as we work and as we operate and as we live our lives, we get more and more disconnected with our fellow human being. So, having someone remember your name, talk to you, it makes you feel like there's a friend there, there's a friend that knows you. So engaging with the customer is super important. And so you've got to be engaging with the customer, trying to remember the name, and making sure you're also monitoring the supplies throughout the day. And make sure you keep your eye on how much you're selling, how much milk you have left, how much coffee you got left in your bag of coffee there. And as you are doing all of that, maybe the phone rings, just so that maybe one of your customers is trying to find out if your coffee shop's actually open, or they may want to place an order. I usually do that. I would call the coffee shop and say, "Hey, can you make me a cappuccino? I'll be down in 20 minutes. Just make it for me. I'll be there to pick it up." And if a coffee shop's able to do that, terrific. I will ring in and order my coffee all day round. And I do that quite often. I'm sure most coffee shop would do that as well. And as you are using your supplies, because you don't want to order too much, you want to just order just enough for the day, because of wastage, I believe. So you're monitoring, and as your supplies run out, you may want to kind of order things last minute, or run down to the closest supermarket in order to buy extra supplies, because you might be really super busy that day, and you want to kind of be able to keep serving your customers. And once all of that is done, you got to be cleaning up, you got to run through all the maintenance, making sure everything's still working for the next day. You're packing up, you're closing up your shop, and all of that. And then at the end of all of that, this may run into maybe you're closing up maybe about 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the afternoon, like late afternoon, going to the evening. And then you got to start doing your stock take for the next day. Do stock take, check how much money you have, do your bookkeeping, make sure you collect all those invoices, get that all prepared for tax compliance. And then you got to think about, you got to find some time to deposit all this money. Or I know a lot of people don't carry cash anymore, but I think that you still do have some level of cash. I think a lot of people now pay by card, or they swipe the card, which is super convenient. But there are those that still pay by cash, and you got to make sure you manage that cash properly. You get those cash deposited into the bank. And after all of that, you also have to think about, marketing your coffee shop, working on promotion, discount coupons, working on some sort of affiliate programs, trying to get more customers to come on a consistent basis. So here is just a very, I think a very high level overview of a typical list of tasks that a coffee shop owner would be performing. And imagine if you were a small business owner, you would have to do all of this. Whether, it's rain, hail, or shine, you have to go through and perform all of these tasks. And it's not a small list. And this is the reason why a lot of business owners, get inundated with all these work, inundated with all these responsibilities. I know that when you first start out, it's all very exciting. It's all very, you're very driven. You're very excited. But as the days go by, months pass by, maybe years, these tasks that requires you to do, to perform on a consistent basis, will start to wear you down. Okay, so owning a business isn't just about a big splash in the pan. It's the long game that's important. You got to be able to survive long term, and as you survive long term, you will start to develop customer loyalty. You start to develop a lot of goodwill around the community. If you're not around, if your business doesn't survive long enough, it doesn't generate enough of those goodwill and a lot of those, those value that the community will see in your coffee shop. And therefore, you will not benefit in the long run, and therefore you would you will not see the returns of all of your hard work. So very important that you are able to work on your business and make sure that your objective is the long term. You got to find a way to survive in the long term. So leading on from that point is going on to this one. So who's performing all of these tasks? And the answer, like I said earlier, is that most of the time these tasks are performed by the business owners themselves. It might be a mom and dad shop. It might be just a single person with a single helper. But a lot of the time I see it really is just the business owner themselves. Now, why is this the problem? If you can have a look here, here are some stats for you to see. And these stats are very general stats, but it's been around for a long time, and I'm sure most of you guys know about this, is that most small businesses fail. That's the reality of running a business and creating a business. Most businesses fail. And a lot of them, as you can see the stats here, 31.7 million small businesses in the United States makes up 99.9% of all businesses in the US. Many of these small businesses start up every month, but the failure rate is very high. As of 2019, the startup failure rates are around 90%. Oh my God, isn't that high? 21.5% of startups fail in the first year alone. That's 1/5 of us fail in the first year, and then you have 30% in the second year, and 50% in the the 5th year, and 70% within 10 years. If you can survive beyond 10 years, you have a very good chance of being able to do very well. But these loyalties, these goodwill that you gain from the community, and the recognition you get from the community doesn't occur overnight. It takes a long time. And once you get these goodwills, once you get these these recognition, your job will become easier. That's why you got to try and last the distance. So what are the reasons for failures? You run out of money. You're in the wrong market. You have a lack of research. You just don't know what people are wanting, what the trends are. You might be involved in a bad partnership. There might be you might have very bad marketing strategy that's currently involved, and you don't seem to portray a certain level of expertise in your area. So here are a list of the most common reason why a business fails. So most of these reasons are outside of the work that you do themselves, outside of you making good coffee. So and the reason why this is the case is because you just don't have enough time in the day to perform all of the tasks that we mentioned, and then go home, after a long day, do all your taxes, prepare everything for the next day, and then think about all of these things that they have here, which is researching about your competitor, researching about what you need to do to stay on top of your game, research about what are the current trends, what are people liking to drink, maybe developing new product lines, maybe developing new drinks that might be on the line, or maybe you got to order something new, like maybe milk tea is a very big thing at the moment. I'm seeing one of these big brand shops or coffee shops like starting to offer milk teas now, which wasn't an item on their list a long time ago. So if you're not on top of your game and you're not giving the market what they want, you're going to be left behind. So if we can continue with the example, now imagine all of these tasks that you as a business owner are currently performing on your own. Now imagine if you are able to offload some of these tasks. It will give you time to think about all these matters, correct? Like you will start to think about your cash flow. You will think about your market value, like your market positioning, your certain partnership that you want to develop, or you want to close down or end certain partnership, and you want to think about new marketing campaigns, and you want to be developing your skill set in a certain area which is in line with the market. Now, imagine if you're able to offload some of these responsibilities and allow these responsibilities to be run by somebody else. If only someone else can help you and do this for you, it will give you some time in the day to do that, correct? Yeah. But the reason why a lot of small business owners don't do that, one is they are always thinking about, trying to balance the books, trying to make sure that, you reduce cost, make sure that you minimize costs, and one of the biggest way to minimize costs is not hire anyone. Of course, if you don't hire someone, then you don't have to pay the wages, you don't have to pay their employee related expenses. So you will save a lot of money. But remember, this is the long game. Yes, you will save a lot of money now, but the damage that you will do to yourself, your mindset, you're not just your mindset, your mental health, the damage you will do to your mental health, your own physical health alone. You have to make sacrifices just to, like I said earlier, to keep the shop open, to constantly make sure everything's is really on top of your game. Can be taxing on you personally if you do all this alone, and that's the reason why a lot of owners will close down after a few years, because it just becomes too hard. It becomes too taxing on themselves. And if that's the reason why it's a good idea to try and offload some of these responsibilities. Now, you don't have to offload everything. You might say that only the customers really like the way I make my coffee. That's the reason why they come to your coffee shop. It's because of your ability to make really good coffee. Now, I'm not saying that you have to give that up. I'm just saying that there are tasks that you can give up to free yourself, to allow yourself some space, so that you can, rest, recover if you need to, and also take care of other matters outside of your shop, or not just outside of shop, other matters that is also important, but not directly related to you working in the shop and making that coffee, or making and trying to fulfill all the food orders. So if you look here, what are some of the things that you can offload? Now, opening up the shop, maybe you want to offload that. You might want to hire maybe a coffee shop assistant. You have a coffee shop assistant that opens up the shop for you. Maybe they don't do it every day. Maybe they just share the responsibility of opening it up for you. Maybe you're sick one day. If you have a shop assistant, wouldn't it be great if you say, hey, Rebecca or Peter, can you open up for me because I'm not feeling so well? Just having someone there for you and backing you up is a big deal. Now, open up the shop, and you can also share the responsibility of unpacking and doing all this preparation work, switching on the appliances, the initial food preps. All of these tasks can be shared with another person. You don't have to do it alone. Monitoring supplies. Now, if you are not the only one performing the work, you will be able to monitor the supplies more. And a lot of the times, because you are monitoring the supplies more, because you have more time to look around the shop to monitor what's happening, you do see missing gaps in your shop, in your process. and you will be able to answer that call, and therefore you're able to, to sell that additional, orders that you wouldn't be able to if you were doing it all on your own. You would have had orders that were missed because you couldn't answer that phone call, or you're just too busy working, and you just realized that you ran out of milk, or you ran out of ham or cheese or something, that you couldn't fulfill a certain set of orders, and that over time, those problems, your customers will notice them. So like I said, imagine that. Now, what I want you to do as a homework is, imagine if you can take this role. If you are owning a coffee shop, or if you can put yourself in a coffee shop owner's shoe, what would you give to this a shop assistant? Like, write it down. Write down what you think you can tell this shop assistant to help you with. It doesn't have to be everything, and again, you don't want to say you take care of everything. That's not just going to work. You have to be very specific and say, hey, Rebecca or Peter, whoever your shop assistant will be, here is your responsibility. Here is how you can help me run my shop. Okay? So that's a really good start. And after you do that, I'm going to give you my list. I'm going to give you 5 seconds here. The good part is I can... The good thing about me is I can stop my recordings while you guys can pause. Click the pause button if you need a bit more time. So I'm going to write down my list of what I would give to my shop assistant, and we'll see if we have the same list. Okay? So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, you ready? So here's my list. All right, so we're back. So here is a list of things that I would hand over to my shop assistant. Opening up the shop, I would actually probably share this responsibility with the assistant. Unpack and prepare the supplies, switch on all the appliances, prepare the initial food preparations, and also helping me engage with the customers throughout the day. Answering phone calls. So if I'm busy making coffee, that shop assistant can answer the phone call for me. If she's busy or he's busy with it, then I can answer the phone call, and vice versa. Ordering supplies. Supplies that your shop assistant can also help you with that, as well as cleaning up. Now, all these other things like packing up, they obviously can help you with that, but closing up the shop you can do. Stock take and bookkeeping, taxing, and all these banking and marketing, promotional things. You can hold on to those responsibilities. But if you look at this list, nearly half of this list, really, you're able to offload onto someone else. Imagine what you can do with that time, with the space. Not just the time, but you're freeing up your mental space, the space in your mind that you're able to just focus on something else. Wouldn't that be great? And as a business owner, our job is to find a way to create a system to offload as many of the processes as we can, so that we can focus on the things that really matter to us, which is growing our business. You should always just be thinking about growing your business, getting new customers, getting new products, getting new source of revenue. It's always about growing your business. If you're not growing, they say, you are dying. So I really want to remind you of that. You gotta always be working on growing your business. And so to summarize, that's what it means to work on your business and not in your business. Working on your business is find ways to offload a lot of these tasks onto somebody else so that they can help you run your business and coffee shop. Now you might say, well, if I hire everyone to do all of these and perform all of these tasks, I won't have any money left. That is true if you don't do this correctly. That is true. But I would want to pose this same question back to you. Well, how does Starbucks do it? How do all these other coffee shop chains do it? Now, the people that are working in those shops are not the business owners themselves. They are actually performed by employees. They're employees. They're not performed by the owners. And you can run these coffee shops without being actually in there. It is possible. The question is, how do you do it? How are you able to find a way to completely remove yourself from the business? And that's your ultimate aim, is how can you remove yourself from the business and allow your business to work and make money without relying on you so much, physically every day, when that time that you have can be spent on just growing your business as opposed to working in it. All right, so I hope that answered your question, guys. If you like this video, please do me a favor and hit that like button and turn on the notification bell for more great contents like this. Until then, thank you very much. Thank you for joining me. Take care. Bye.